wiretaps, recordings, and all that. Like, he was in too deep with a J. Reed.
Lil Durk's ongoing legal saga has just taken a dramatic turn. While the rapper remains behind bars, waiting for his day in court, a bombshell development has lit up the internet. Newly leaked audio recordings have surfaced, allegedly tying him to not one, but two separate murder-for-hire schemes. These revelations could drastically reshape the trajectory of his case. So, what does this mean for Durk's chances of walking free anytime soon? Stay tuned. We're diving deep into the wiretaps and leaked clips that have everyone talking. Things have been absolutely wild ever since Lil Durk was taken into custody back in October 2024. But here's where it gets even crazier. Recent leaks, including audio clips and court documents, have completely turned the case on its head. If you think you had a grasp on what was going down, think again. The scale of the federal government's investigation is staggering. According to official court filings, prosecutors have compiled a jaw-dropping 230 gigabytes of digital evidence against Durk and his co-defendants. We're talking about hours of wiretaps, surveillance videos, and a staggering 20,000-plus pages of documentation outlining alleged acts of violence. It's this sheer volume of material that led to the postponement of Durk's trial, which was originally set to begin. Durk's trial, originally scheduled for January 7, 2025, has now been pushed back to October 14th, as both prosecutors and defense attorneys admit the case is layered with complexity. But what no one saw coming was the unexpected twist. Parts of the government's evidence somehow leaked into the public domain. The result? A full-blown media frenzy, with narratives being shaped months before a single word is uttered in court. So what's in these leaked files that has everyone talking? Reports from April 2025 point to wiretapped calls, allegedly capturing Durk discussing payment details tied to murder-for-hire schemes. One video, now making the rounds online, claims federal agents strategically planted an informant in the same jail pod as one of Durk's associates, leading to secret recordings of deeply incriminating conversations. Earlier this month, another video dropped, digging deeper into the wiretap evidence and an alleged confession from Brick Baby, one that ties him directly to the murder-for-hire charges swirling around Lil Durk. In the recordings, Brick Baby seems to implicate himself, and Durk, with mentions of a shady figure known as J. Reed, hinting that things might have gone way deeper than anyone realized. These leaked clips mirror what's already outlined in official court filings, offering a clearer picture of how federal investigators have been building their case, methodically and with precision. But perhaps the most damning element of all? The informants and secretly recorded jailhouse conversations. One major twist centers around a man referred to in documents as AJ. After being arrested for driving a stolen vehicle allegedly linked to a murder, AJ landed in Illinois River Correctional Center. According to court records, the FBI strategically placed a wired informant in his cell, who then captured AJ allegedly, spilling crucial details. The recorded conversations paint an even darker picture, reportedly detailing how the planning and execution of Stefan Mack's murder were orchestrated, along with the payments made for the hit. This piece of evidence is especially damaging because it seemingly connects Durk directly to the financial side of Mack's killing, a hit that prosecutors argue was a retaliation for the 2021 murder of Durk's brother, Dante Fang Banks. But that's not all, according to the tapes. Another figure, referred to as Marley, is mentioned repeatedly by AJ, who allegedly names him as playing a crucial role in the homicide. This kind of first-hand, detailed confession is exactly what prosecutors dream of in cases like these. And it looks like the feds have managed to secure multiple such testimonies, potentially stacking the odds even higher against Durk, but the audio evidence keeps piling up. According to a CBS Chicago report, featured in one of the leaked videos, prosecutors claim that Stefan Mack was shot outside the Youth Peace Center in Roseland. The FBI has reportedly connected the two men charged with his murder to Lil Durk through a mix of text messages and confidential informants. This raises the possibility that, beyond the jailhouse recordings, the FBI may be sitting on even more audio evidence, possibly from wiretaps or additional informants, that hasn't made its way into the public eye yet. All of this just adds another layer to the growing mountain of evidence against Durk. The evidence against Durk continues to grow, now including text messages that allegedly tie him directly to the murder-for-hire plots. Court documents reveal these texts contain discussions about payments for the hits And if they're proven authentic, they could provide prosecutors with a crucial link between Durk and the financial side of the alleged murders. This is key in supporting the conspiracy charges. But that's not all. The leaked files also suggest that federal authorities have evidence showing Durk tried to cover his tracks. According to an indictment in the Quando Rondo case, Durk allegedly texted an associate saying, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with sick me," hinting at efforts to hide his involvement in the situation. Durk's attempt to avoid leaving a paper trail that could further tie him to the alleged plots may have backfired. Even more troubling for Durk and his legal team is the growing suggestion that federal authorities may have flipped multiple individuals connected to the cases. Leaked details reveal that AJ's recorded confession is just the tip of the iceberg, with the feds using his cooperation to persuade others to turn on Durk. According to one source within the leaked documents, after AJ was incarcerated in March 2023, federal agents reportedly had a conversation with him. That talk, as it turns out, provided the critical lead they needed to build a RICO case against Durk. Once AJ gave up the information, the feds managed to flip others, leading to a cascade of witnesses now ready to explain exactly what went down and who was involved. The feds seemingly have every detail they need to build their case: who called the shots, who was present, who made the trips, and who funded everything, even down to the credit cards. It's as if one witness after another is contributing pieces to a much larger puzzle, creating a clear, comprehensive picture of the alleged conspiracy that prosecutors are eager to present to a jury. What stands out in these leaks is the hint that Durk may have already been aware the feds were closing in on him. According to one source, Durk wasn't caught off guard. He knew that Jam had flipped. In fact, it's claimed that Durk was expecting arrest to happen at his birthday concert in Chicago. This could help explain why, on the day of his arrest at Miami International Airport, Durk allegedly had multiple escape plans in place. If he was already anticipating federal charges, his attempt to flee the country starts to make a lot more sense. But beyond just linking Durk to the alleged murder-for-hire plots, prosecutors also seem to be crafting a case around a larger, disturbing pattern of Durk allegedly putting hits out on his enemies. Court documents indicate that federal authorities have evidence suggesting Durk was offering financial incentives to have individuals eliminated. The emerging evidence paints a chilling picture of Durk's alleged motive. According to the leaks, he was reportedly targeting Gangster Disciples members in retaliation for his brother D-Thang's murder, which is believed to have been carried out by someone affiliated with the Smashville faction. If these claims hold up, it could be devastating for Durk's defense, as it ties a clear motive and method to the murder-for-hire charges he's facing. The leaked audios and the broader scope of the federal investigation have sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community. Fans, once unwavering in their support, are now expressing shock and disillusionment on platforms like Reddit. Many who had stood by Durk's innocence are now rethinking their stance. One user shared their disappointment, noting they believed Durk was a champion for peace, an influencer for positive change, but now feel he's thrown it all away for revenge tied to the tragic death of King Von in 2020. Still, some remain skeptical of the leaks, pointing out that until there's official confirmation from the court, it's all just hearsay. For Durk's legal team, the challenge lies in navigating the authenticity and context of these leaked recordings. Some fans are holding on to the belief that the tapes might be manipulated or taken out of context, insisting that Durk should still be presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. Durk's attorney, Drew Finling, hasn't directly addressed the leaked audios, but has consistently emphasized his client's innocence, stressing that the case against him relies more on circumstantial evidence than solid proof of his involvement in the alleged plots. On the law enforcement side, sources have remained tight-lipped, neither confirming nor denying the authenticity of the leaks. This is typical in high-profile federal cases, where prosecutors prefer to present their evidence in court rather than in the court of public opinion. However, regardless of the official stance, it's undeniable that the leaked recordings have shifted the public's perception of the case. What once seemed like circumstantial evidence now appears to be part of a larger, more detailed investigation, making it harder for Durk's defense team to poke holes in the prosecution's claims. But before we dive further into the leaks, let's take a step back and make sure we understand just how Lil Durk ended up in such hot water. Durk Devontae Banks, better known as Lil Durk, has long been one of Chicago's most influential figures in the drill music scene. The Grammy-winning artist behind hits like All My Life with Jay, Lil Durk was riding high, enjoying the peak of his career. But behind the scenes, the feds were quietly assembling what they believe is an airtight case against him, the voice of the streets. Everything came to a head on October 24, 2024, when U.S. Marshals arrested Durk at Miami International Airport. The arrest wasn't a routine stop. According to federal authorities, Durk wasn't just trying to catch a regular flight. He was allegedly planning to vanish, boarding a private jet bound for Italy. What raises even more eyebrows is that investigators claim Durk had also booked one-way commercial flights to Switzerland via New Jersey and to Dubai via Qatar, all for the same day. That's 3 separate escape routes, all lined up for one trip. Not exactly the actions of an innocent man, right? So why was Durk allegedly trying to flee? The charges he's facing are serious, no exaggeration. A federal grand jury indictment issued on November 8, 2024, dropped the hammer. Lil Durk is facing some heavy charges: conspiracy to commit murder for hire, using interstate facilities; to carry out a murder for hire resulting in death, and using firearms in furtherance of a violent crime, also resulting in death. If the jury finds him guilty on all counts, Durk could be staring down a life sentence in federal prison. And as we all know, there's no parole in the federal system. At the heart of these charges is an alleged murder-for-hire plot targeting rapper Quando Rondo. But according to prosecutors, this wasn't some random street beef. It was a calculated act of revenge for the 2020 murder of King Von, Durk's close friend and artist under his Only the Family label. King Von's tragic death, at the hands of Rondo's associate Timothy Leaks, shook the rap world and ignited serious tensions. Prosecutors argue that Durk was dead set on addressing those tensions with violence, allegedly putting a bounty on Quando Rondo's head and offering cash and opportunities to anyone willing to take action for Vonnie. The alleged hit is said to have gone down on August 19, 2022. In Los Angeles, the feds claim that 5 of Durk's associates, Kayvon Cuz London Grant, DeAndre Diddy Wilson, Keith Flocka Jones, David Brown Eyes Lindsay, and Asa Boogie Houston, were all in on the alleged plot. They got the word that Quando Rondo was staying at a hotel in Los Angeles, and according to prosecutors, Durk was funding the whole operation. The crew flew out to California, picked up a couple of luxury cars, grabbed ski masks, and made sure they were fully armed, including what prosecutors describe as a fully automatic machine gun. The indictment claims that these associates tracked Quando Rondo and his cousin, Savia Lil Pab Robinson, as they moved through LA in a Cadillac Escalade, following them to various locations. The squad allegedly opened fire at a gas station, unloading at least 18 rounds in the process. Tragically, Robinson was the one who caught the worst of the attack, losing his life in the shooting, though both Quando Rondo and his sister, who were also in the vehicle, managed to escape unscathed. What's making the government's case so formidable is the vast amount of evidence they claim to have accumulated. In addition to this evidence, investigators say they traced a credit card linked to Durk, which was used to book flights and a hotel for his co-defendants. Durk pleaded not guilty to all charges during his arraignment in Los Angeles on November 14, 2024. His legal team, headed by the renowned attorney Drew Finling, known on the streets as the billion-dollar lawyer, has firmly maintained his innocence, calling the evidence against him all cap. Despite this defense, Durk has been held without bond since his arrest on December 12, 2024. U.S. Magistrate Judge Patricia Donahue denied his pretrial release motion, stating that Durk's resources and the likelihood of him fleeing made him too high of a risk. His legal team offered a substantial bond package, including $2.3 million in equity from 2 Georgia properties and $1 million in cash from Sony Music, along with 24/7 security, but the judge wasn't swayed. Things only worsened when prosecutors claimed Durk had been violating jail rules at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles by making unauthorized 3-way calls, further convincing the judge that he should remain locked up. These jailhouse violations would come back to haunt Durk in ways no one expected. But the case against him doesn't stop with the Quando Rondo shooting. In a shocking twist that complicates his legal troubles even further, a newly unsealed FBI affidavit filed in Chicago in 2023 suggests that Durk might be linked to a second murder-for-hire plot. This one involves the January 2022 shooting of Stefan Mack, a 24-year-old believed to be a shot caller in the Smashville faction of the Gangster. Disciples. The FBI affidavit details text messages and social media posts discussing payments from Durk for Mac's murder, allegedly as revenge for the 2021 killing of Durk's brother, Dante Dethang Banks. While Durk hasn't been formally charged in this case, prosecutors have used this affidavit to argue against his release in the Quando Rondo case, pointing to what they describe as a troubling pattern of violent behavior. Federal prosecutors also claim Durk offered financial incentives for other hits, including one targeting a family member of a witness, though specific details on these allegations remain scarce. During his December 2024 detention hearing, prosecutors emphasized why Durk is considered a danger to the community, adding fuel to the fire of his already mounting criminal charges. But the heat doesn't stop there. Durk is also dealing with multiple wrongful death lawsuits related to violent incidents allegedly tied to him and his associates. On February 24, 2025, Andrea Laquila Robinson, the mother of Savia Robinson, filed a wrongful death lawsuit in Cook County Court, Chicago, against Durk, his business manager, and a related company. The lawsuit claims that Robinson's death in the 2022 Los Angeles shooting was the direct result of a targeted attack orchestrated by Durk. Then, in October 2024, the mother of Chicago rapper FBG Duck, Carlton Weekly, filed another wrongful death lawsuit against Durk, King Von's estate, and several music companies. This lawsuit alleges that Durk and Von had orchestrated a campaign of violence against FBG Duck, including placing a $100,000 bounty on his head, which ultimately led to Duck's fatal shooting in Chicago's Gold Coast area in August 2020. Despite these grave legal challenges, Durk has continued to make waves in the music world. His 9th studio album, Deep Thoughts, dropped on March 28, 2025, while he was behind bars. On Instagram, Durk shared a message on March 27, 2025. "I wasn't going to put this out, but then I remembered the streets need this. Not being outside with y'all when I drop is hard, but I know I will feel y'all love and energy through these walls. Thank y'all for rocking with me through everything. I tell these stories so our voice is never lost. I'm coming home sooner than ever." However, the recently leaked audio recordings cast serious doubt on Durk's hopeful message to his fans. These recordings, along with other evidence now in play, have completely shifted the direction of the case in ways nobody saw coming. The fallout from these leaks goes beyond the legal battle. They raise critical questions about the future of Durk's career and his legacy in hip-hop. The impact of this trial, whether it ends in a conviction or a dramatic twist, will resonate for years to come. This situation is definitely a stark and tragic example of how real-world consequences can follow the personas that artists craft in their music. The leaked recordings and the substantial evidence piling up against Lil Durk make it increasingly hard to separate the artist from the allegations, especially when it looks like he may have been directly involved in orchestrating violence, rather than just reflecting it in his lyrics. Durk's case stands as a reminder of how the street life and the pressures of loyalty and revenge can trap even the most successful artists, preventing them from breaking free from the cycle of violence they've rapped about. It's especially disheartening because, as you pointed out, Durk had the platform and talent to potentially serve as a positive influence and help break that cycle, but now it appears he's caught in a darker, more dangerous narrative. The involvement of the feds with their meticulous case building and nearly guaranteed conviction rate shows just how serious the situation is. The federal system does not bring charges unless they have a solid case, and the growing body of evidence here suggests that the stakes for Durk and those around him are incredibly high. If these allegations are true, it could rewrite the legacy of Durk's music career, shifting from being an influential voice in the drill scene to a cautionary tale of how street loyalty and retaliation can derail everything. It's a lose-lose situation for everyone, as you mentioned, with the potential loss of life, freedom, and personal futures hanging in the balance. It'll be interesting to see how the trial unfolds, especially with the defense likely trying to challenge the evidence and the role of leaked recordings in shaping the public's perception of the case. Regardless of how it ends, the case has already had a massive impact on both Durk's career and on the wider conversation about how hip-hop's connection to street life is often more than just metaphorical. The contrast between the music that celebrates violence and the real-world consequences of that violence is becoming more and more evident in these cases, and it's a conversation that needs to continue as we see more of these kinds of situations unfold in the hip-hop community. It's definitely a sobering moment for the culture.